I just built my best and most realistic wooden roller coaster to date. Let me show you how I did it in this episode of my Planet Coaster mini tutorial series. Follow these steps and you will learn how to build a realistic wooden roller coaster in Planet Coaster. I started by making a 180 turn with a slight decline into a lift hill at an angle of roughly 30 degrees. I brightened the color of the track and supports to resemble a newly built wooden coaster. I also switched out the trains. Go to the Customize tab in the coaster menu, pick a train from the drop-down menu, in this case Iron Fury. These trains are the same ones used by Gravity Group, and as this Woody on the smaller scale is inspired of a Gravity Group wooden coaster, they are a perfect pick. For the track, I used my normal 6 meter technique with a banking offset at plus 2 meters. This way the heartline effect will be kept, even after doing all the smaller adjustments and smoothing later on. Wooden coasters typically don't tend to invert, therefore, the layout of this Woody consists of tight curves and small but sharp airtime hills. As the tallest point of this coaster does not exceed 20 meters, I keep the rest of the layout fairly close to the ground to maintain a good speed throughout the entire course. As mentioned in my previous steel coaster episode of this mini tutorial series, it can be a good idea to early on add the final brake run so that you know where to end your coaster. After completing the track, I click Test Run to see how well the train's speed is maintained. In this case, the train didn't even reach the final brake run. I therefore need to adjust the coaster friction. Tick the box where it says Friction Multiplier. Drag the slider to 0.9 and give it another go. I find the friction to be pretty high in this game compared to real life. It is therefore a good idea to drag it down slightly for better running trains. I made some final adjustments to the track before moving on to the smoothing process. In longer parts of the track like this, where there is no banking and no turns whatsoever, it is okay to select several track pieces and click Smooth All. However, as soon as I enter a part of the coaster where the track either turns or bank to one side, it is extremely important only to select 2 track pieces, or else most of the heartline effect will disappear and the banking will be way off. To get rid of unwanted and unrealistic supports, I place a small piece of path under it. And don't worry if it looks ugly, I will correct it later on. Moving on, I am using the same autocomplete method as I used in the steel coaster episode. I find this method very useful as this smoothens out the transitions between the different elements, banking and curves. And by only deleting 2 track pieces at a time before clicking autocomplete, you guessed it, the heartline effect is kept as perfect as it can be. In places where the stress on the supports are greater, in this case I have a banked curve, I add some extra strength by adding custom supports. This can be done in several ways, but this is how I did it. I choose a regular wooden beam and color match it to the same color as the coaster supports. I then turn it somewhere between 30 and 45 degrees and place it on the outer side of the curve. After that, I am connecting them with diagonal beams for a sturdy construction. At last, I add coaster footers where the beams are connecting to the ground. Next step is to cover the underside of the track with protecting wood. This can be done in places where objects can cause damage or injury to the coaster or the riders, typically in places where the track crosses over itself. I find the wooden fence to be the perfect item for this use as it can be colored to match the wood in the coaster, and it is easy to add large pieces at the same time instead of placing every piece of plank by itself. In places where the coaster crosses itself, reinforcement is needed in the shape of thick steel beams. Not all wooden coasters have these supporting steel beams. However, since this is a more modern, Gravity Group-inspired Woody, it is added for extra realism. The construction is fairly simple, yet it makes a big difference in the overall look of the wooden coaster. Lastly, I am adding some finishing touches of the surroundings of the coaster, such as terrain paint and foliage, before I show you the final result. Did you find this tutorial useful? In this case, make sure to give this video a like so that you find it later on in your recently liked videos on YouTube next time you are going to build a wooden roller coaster in your park in Planet Coaster. I am enjoying making content like this, giving you help and tips on how you can improve your building skills in Planet Coaster. I therefore ask you to help me decide on what to make a tutorial about next. I have some ideas already, but I always appreciate when you guys are giving me feedback and requests for upcoming content. Here is the final result. If you haven't already and would like to watch an episode about how to build a realistic station to your coaster, I will put it on the screen at the end of the POV of this Woody. I will now leave you with the cinematics and POV of this Gravity Group-inspired wooden roller coaster. Enjoy! As promised, if you need inspiration for your station build, check out this video on screen now. Thank you for watching until the end. Take care.